Hello and welcome to Homescreen. I'm Joe Colchester, Product Manager here at 11FS Pulse. Pulse is our collection of over 4,000 user journeys from banks and fintechs from all over the world. So head over to pulse.11fs.com to request a free demo to see how others are solving their UX challenges. In today's episodes, we're joined by Jim Glatiotis, Jassby CTO. We're going to talk about how you can go about building financial products for children and also how they can be used to enhance financial literacy. How are you doing today, Jim?
I'm doing well, Joe. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about what Jassby is, what you guys do?
Yeah, so Jassby is a financial management app for families. And really it has two core missions. The first is to enhance financial literacy in children. So a big part of our mission is to provide a platform where kids can learn about managing money through experience. The other thing that we do to facilitate that is to make financial management easy for families. So we have lots of tools for parents and for kids in our app. And we facilitate communication, management of chores and those kinds of things to just ease the whole process.
Okay, great. How did you kind of come about? What's the story?
Well, our founder, Benny Nachman, is a bit of a serial entrepreneur. He's founded a few companies. And after he's also a father of two young boys. And after he left the day-to-day operations of the last company he founded, he increasingly became interested in the gap in financial literacy education globally, and in the United States in particular. And he started to think about different ways he could address that, and really that was the guiding principle that led him to found Jassby and get us started.
Okay, great. So we saw some data recently. According to the Bank of England, only a quarter of children in the UK enjoy learning about money at school. That might not come as a huge surprise. But how important are these digital tools to set children up for success later in life, do you think?
We believe they're very important for really due to two core reasons. One is nothing teaches like experience, so it's actually giving children a safe, usable platform to exercise financial freedom with parental oversight, we think is a big part of setting children up for success. The other aspect of it is just that it's all done online, and that's where all done online in the app. It's electronics funds flow. It's using mobile payments. It's all things that will be very much a reality in managing money when these kids grow up. So we think that what we're doing is very important to set them up for success.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Another thing that survey found was that the top three aspects that help children learn about money are jokes, games, and using real money in real situations. How does Jassby incorporate these different elements?
Well, I'll start with the using money in real situations. That really is everything in our app is that. It is the money that goes into the system is real. It's brought in by the parents when it's transferred to the children in a variety of different ways. That is real money that they can spend. And now with our debit card added to our product mix, they can spend it subject to controls virtually anywhere. So it is real experience. So that part is very much core to our app. We're beginning to introduce elements of gamification. So we'll talk a bit later about the Jassby score and about the Jassby rewards program. Those are elements that we're adding that allow children to see immediate feedback on their behavior in the app. So as they do things that are productive and educational and good habits, they see a score. So we're beginning to introduce elements of that. On the joke side, we haven't done much yet. On our roadmap for the not too distant future is to begin to mix in some educational experiences that are videos or very quick courses with quizzes and things like that. And I think that will be a platform where we begin to introduce humor and perhaps introduce more game-oriented functionality to help the kids learn, and then use that to also reinforce the real-world experience that they're gaining by just using the app.
For sure. And can you tell us a little something about the kind of parental controls at work?
Yeah. So the first parental control is when our process for a family starts with what we call a family organizer. That's the first parent in, the parent who signs up for Jassby and enters information on the family. When the parent organizer sets up the family, the first control they have is to choose which children in the family will have virtual debit cards and which will not. So for younger kids, we have what we call the Jassby Mall, which is a curated online shop, and kids can go there and spend money without a debit card. We process all of that through our system, and that's really appropriate for younger kids who aren't quite ready to be out in the world with a debit card. Mm-hmm. Older kids, 13 and older, is really the target range, can get a debit card. And those are guidelines. It's really up to the parent. So that's the first control. Parents get complete visibility on where their children are spending money, how they're transferring money. Pretty much everything has a notification associated with it. So the parents have a lot of control over which notifications they receive in terms of child behavior. Mm-hmm. Our debit card, the authorization for our debit card is managed according to certain merchant category codes. So certain things that gambling and other things that wouldn't be appropriate for kids are blocked. In the future, we intend to put more granular control of merchant code category codes into the hands of parents, as well as some new features that we will introduce where we allow more money sharing outside the family, and that will have a lot of parental control as well.
So how important do you think it is to visually demonstrate to children how completed chore leads to pocket money? Because that seems to be a core element of the app.
It is, yeah. We do think that's very important. Certainly tying work to financial reward is a huge part of developing good, responsible financial habits. And for children, we want to make that easy. It's a lot of our children. Some of our children are older and have jobs, and that's the mission for them is a little different. But for younger kids, we want to make that concept accessible, and we want to make it easy for parents to manage. So being able to establish a list of chores and have the kids be able to see, if I complete this one, I will earn exactly this much money, and be able to then watch their account balance grow as they complete those things, we think it's really important. We've also recently introduced what we call unassigned chores. So the parent can, if the parent has multiple kids in the family, they can put a chore out there, and the kids can go to the chore board and grab it and take ownership of it and complete it, and they can communicate through the process. So we think it is important, and it really reinforces that experience of working for pay and communicating with the person who is paying you, which are all good real world skills.
Absolutely, I can see how that kind of encourages the understanding of money, the value for money.
Yes.
And also, it's kind of a strange idea. There must be people competing to do chores at home, which isn't usual child behaviour. But that's great, and it kind of leads me on to my next question, which is how has this, or how how's the pandemic and the breakout of the pandemic changed user behaviour? Have you noticed anything there?
We have, yeah. It's interesting. We've seen both positives and negatives. So one of the things that has slowed down for us for a bit is that older kids, teenagers who would normally be going out with their friends and using their debit cards, haven't done as much of that for obvious reasons. So they're not shopping the way they normally would. There's a lot more online shopping, those kinds of things, and a general slowdown a little bit in terms of shopping. The other thing that we've seen is that they're using the online tools to do the shopping that has increased. So, kids who maybe wouldn't be as interested in shopping in the app, shopping in the Jassby Mall, have done more of that because they don't have other avenues to spend their money and to look for the things that they want. So we have seen some user behavior change. Our usage of the app has been strong. I don't know whether that's a function of the pandemic or it's just that we're kind of hitting the mark on the mission. But that usage overall has continued to be pretty steady throughout the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine that it's got real utility with no school and children working from home. Suddenly the chores list must pile up, and the working home kind of become a real kind of working unit, and that this app has helped so much with that.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Could you tell us a little bit about the competitors in this space?
Yeah, we have some big ones. The biggest competitor in our space is a company named Greenlight. They've been around for a while, and were recently in the news having done another large investment raise. There's another company, Go Henry, that is also a pretty big company. There's a company named FamZoo that has been in this space for, I think, 10 or 12 years. So it's a space that is both well populated by competitors, but also wide open. Our research shows that this is a hugely untapped market. So we think there's plenty of room for all of us to grow and be successful.
Absolutely. And does the kind of the increasing movement away from physical cash, does that fit into this as well?
It does, very much so. One of the things that's a little different between Jassby and our competitors is that we are right now, our debit card is entirely virtual. We plan to introduce a physical option for families that want it, but our virtual debit card is electronic. It's provisioned online. It can be added to Apple Pay or Google Pay or Samsung Pay or one of the pay platforms. So it is entirely based on contactless payment, which has been obviously is with more health concerns and just the general trend toward contactless payment. We think that was a good place to start for us for sure. So that is a big part of it. And then the debit card, in the app, you can get a virtual image of your debit card, so you can go and enter the number on Amazon, and that if you shop there often, you can have that set up and be easy for you as well.
Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick look at the P2P transfers.
Yes.
So we're on the homepage now, and we can see the very prominent financial literacy scroll there at the middle, as well as the spending at the top. And then we get a nice layout there, where we can see the activities, and we can see the link to the shop there as well. Sending money, sending to a child now, including the note there, and we've got some predefined amounts as well, just making that a little bit quicker. And we can request from a parent, and a optional note can be included. Nice to see some imagery there associated with the parent. Enter the amount there with the dial pad. And we can see the activities down there as well. Now sending money. Very original but kind of effective layout there. Okay, great. So that was a very nicely laid out homepage. Actually, quite mature design language you're saying there. Can you tell us a little bit about how you arrived at that design, having spending, savings, rewards, and allowance featured at the top, for example?
Yeah, it's so you touched on a couple of points as you were going through it. We want to, our core design principles are pretty common. We want to make things as simple as they can be, but still allow the user to achieve the task that they're setting out to achieve. So that is a principle that has guided us. We want to make the app serious but not dull. So we in earlier incarnations of our app, I would say we were targeted to maybe a less mature audience. We had imagery of a butterfly named Georgie that would pop up and give messages, and we've found through user feedback that kids want to have a serious experience when they're managing money. They understand that it's a serious topic, and we don't need to go too far with bringing it down to a more fun level. We need to keep it balanced. So that was a guiding principle. And then we've really evolved significantly. This UI layout has just been significantly overhauled for our upcoming release. We've always had the account information. We felt that the thing that people want to see, parents and kids included, they want to see their balances of their accounts. That's the first thing. So that's prominent up at the top of the page. They want to be able to take action from the home page. So you saw the buttons where they can very quickly go to do a money transfer, or other things they can do, or pull up images of their debit card. For parents, they can quickly see get a list of the child's activity, recent activity, where have they been spending money, those kinds of things. All of those things are right one touch away from the home page. And then the things, a little further down, there's a scrollable area where you can see the activities that are being managed by the family. So the parents can see chores that they've put out there. The kids can see chores that are assigned to them or that are out there and that are unassigned that they can grab and earn money. So we really wanted to make the home page facilitate quite a bit of the functionality in the app.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to fit so much into it. And actually, we see a lot of homepages in Pulse. We see so many things coming in, and it's quite original. You can kind of tell that it's come about through revamps and testing. But yeah, it's really great UX, I think. It's interesting as well to hear you talk about children want to take money seriously. I can really relate to that. When I got an RBS Child's account when I was, I think, 14 or 15, and I was so disappointed with the experience that kind of it arrived with these sweets and a kind of special card with, as you say, like butterflies on it or balloons, and it wasn't at all the experience. I wanted to feel like an adult. That was kind of the step I wanted to make, but it was kind of catering to a more immature side.
Right.
So it's really interesting to see how that's the feedback that you got from your testing. Actually, people want to use money as a kind of way of maturing.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see that reflected in the designs as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the kind of key challenges and learnings that you've come through? I guess maybe from a technical angle, from designing and developing financial apps for children.
Yeah. So I would say that the first challenge I would speak to would be, as we've said, it's a financial app with real money. So security and children in the app, and security is obviously very important. And one of the things that has been an ongoing challenge, and again is an area that we've evolved, is how do we balance security and the need to verify the identity of particularly the parents who are setting up the family, but still make the process easy. Not lock up parents as they're trying to set up their accounts for too many reasons. So balancing that friction versus security is always a challenge, and I would imagine it will continue to be, for sure. The other thing is balancing. What the app allows you to do is actually pretty robust and fairly sophisticated, and keeping the UI to allow that to happen simple, making the homepage fairly complete without making it cluttered is an ongoing challenge. So every time we add a new feature, we have quite a bit of discussion about, do we put this on the homepage? How do we put it there? Would it be better suited to be somewhere else? Is there something else that needs to move off the homepage to accommodate this because it's more important? So it's balancing simplicity versus access to sophisticated functions is an ongoing challenge for us. And then from a technical perspective, certainly the performance has to be snappy. Nobody wants to wait when they're using a mobile app. Certainly, if you're a kid in line checking out with your friends, you want to be able to see your balance very quickly. You want to be able to see it get refreshed if your parents sent you money 2 minutes before you went into the store to buy something with your friends. So performance is something that we manage very carefully and constantly tune as well.
Yeah, I can see, because these children have been brought up with the best of the best. They've not had to deal with slow waiting experiences and these other kind of tricky things that we've been through. So I guess you kind of always got to deliver on that performance. It's really interesting. In terms of the kind of power of the app, is it a kind of walled garden? Can you only send money to other Jassby users in the family, or can you use it more? Could you transfer to a friend with a different account, for example?
Right now, you can only transfer to other family members. We will be expanding that to allow parents to set up a controlled group of people, that all Jassby members. So it will still be contained within Jassby, but we will allow inter-family transfers within the Jassby app. And then we also will be developing some sort of functionality to allow people that aren't users to easily send money to kids. So the primary example we think of is a grandparent who's not a user in the app, but they want to send $20 to a kid for a birthday. We'll set up a way that they can receive a link in email or in text and very quickly click on that and do a money transfer into the kid's account.
Okay, great. So now we're going to take a look at another journey, which is the kind of activities journey. So we're back here again on that nice homepage, and we've got those 4 components at the top, and that ever-present Jassby score as well. 588 telling us we're a beginner, but we're on our way. And we can see the activity laid out there at the bottom, and some more details are seen there. We can add notes should we choose to. And just informing the parent that this has been completed. And the CTA lets us wait for approval. So now we're proposing an activity, long list of predefined ones, with an additional description, very consistent design language throughout, and nice kind of branded colors as well. And the proposal's been made there, and we can see it added to the bottom. Now for some unassigned activities, we can take that on ourselves and begin working on that. And through to the rewards now, we can see the different transactions and the points we've earned, the element of gamification there. We touched on this earlier, but have you found that providing these chores in exchange for money, has this kind of increased children's understanding of the value for money?
Definitely, it has. It's interesting when we see new families sign up. Some of the families have a sort of a manual system for managing this thing. They'll have a notes that they post up on the refrigerator. They'll have jars where the kids' money goes and that. And they find that the app works well with the process that they already understand, but makes it a lot easier. Other families join and they don't have something like that set up, and really the way we've laid out the app seems to make it easy for them to not only use a system that works like that, but actually understand the concept and really set things up from scratch to have the quickly accessible chores board and the quick access to balances and all of the things that we've seen in the 2 journeys. So yeah, we do find that it helps with family financial management, and that is a big part of the feedback we get from families, for sure.
For sure, and it also kind of works as a kind of to-do list as well, like what needs to be done around here.
Yes.
We're all working on this together, so kind of an efficient household can be made.
Yeah.
We actually see the work that goes into maintaining a kind of healthy household. Yeah,
and it's interesting that one of the things that is really interesting to watch is the level of communication that is facilitated through the app. So the messages that go back and forth between the parents and kids are really informative. It's you might see a parent send a reminder, you didn't walk the dog yesterday, and then we'll see the kid actually respond to the parent in the app and explain why they didn't walk the dog and that. So we think in some ways it's actually facilitating communication around the whole process for the family as well, which is kind of neat to see.
Yeah, that's really interesting kind of takeaway that you probably wouldn't have expected. But that's a great benefit of it as well, I guess. Can you tell us a little bit about the chore setting actually? So that can chores be proposed by both the kid and the parent?
Yes, they can. So the parent, the classic example is the parent sets up the chore and the kid takes it on and completes it. Mm-hmm. Kids can also initiate a request for a chore, so they can send it's effectively a proposal to the parent that says, how about if I do this, will you pay me this much money? So we do see some of that. Predominantly thus far, chores have been set up by the parents, but we're seeing an increasing amount of kids taking on, defining their own earning opportunities and taking the initiative to do that themselves. So that's something we certainly will continue to look to encourage as well.
Yeah, that's another really interesting one, because it's like what other things can I do around the household almost inspire some creativity. Like, actually, do we need to cut the hedge? Have you thought about that, Dad?
Yes.
Um, that's great.
Yeah.
Um,
And what's nice about that is it's not just, Dad, can I have some money? It's, Dad, how can I earn some? How can I be helpful
yeah,
and earn money in the process, which is great.
Hmm. Yeah, and I guess it kind of encourages some business acumen as well.
Yes.
This is how you innovate. Is what can we create? Not just be told what to do, but actually create these opportunities for myself, and then maybe brothers and sisters can follow on from that lead.
Yeah.
In terms, so there's a I'm right in saying there's a parent app and a child app, and how much do they differ?
It's actually the same app. So
Okay.
it is one app. Depending on the role in the family, the view will differ certainly. Um, there, the UI elements are all very common. So the layout is the same. Parents see slightly different accounts than the kids have their reward account. For parents, there's no reward account. So the parents might see a card at the top that gives them quick access to the activities list. So there's
Yeah.
subtle differences in the views, but we try to keep the experience common between the parent and the child, because we feel that helps facilitate the shared understanding of what the family is trying to accomplish in the app. And generally
Okay.
speaking, the design principles that work for a kid hold true for a parent as well.
That's really interesting, actually. So where do the I guess that's an interesting finding, where actually if you get it right for one, it can very easily work for the other, or maybe you've just struck the right balance where it seems to work really well for both.
Yeah, I would say it's another one of those things that's evolved. As we add new features, every time we add a new feature now, we think about what's the parent perspective on this feature, what's the child perspective on this feature, and then how does it fit in with the other features that are accessible to that role. And I think because we're very much now in the habit of always thinking of that with a new feature right away, it has led us to design consistency, and the outcome has been very good. That design consistency has held true across the two different primary audiences, and it has made the app easier for collective use by the family.
Great. Where are you kind of planning to take Jassby in the future? Can you tell us a little bit about the roadmap?
Yeah, we plan to have Jassby evolve with our families. So, right now the functionality that we looked at in the app is around managing chores, parents giving kids access to money, kids being able to spend it in some safe ways. As the children that are part of our families get older, we want to increase the offerings for them. So, for instance, as they become teenagers and start to work actual jobs, we want to give them the ability to have direct deposit right to their Jassby account and give them more tools to manage their money. We will be introducing some fairly sophisticated savings goals. So and we'll be introducing an interest-bearing savings account, so we can more strongly reinforce the concept of saving up for a long-term goal rather than just managing money in the instant. We'll also be adding some value-added features. So the Jassby, one of the things that's different between us and our competitors, there is no fee for the Jassby debit card. So we believe that you should be able to have a debit card for your family for free, and that's a core aspect. We will be adding some premium tiers that offer value-added features. So the Jassby rewards balance that we looked at will actually be part of a premium tier. We'll be offering cash back on card purchases, so you'll be able to go to certain merchants and earn cash back like you would with other major credit cards or debit cards. And then probably a little bit further down the road, we'll actually start to introduce things like investments. So for kids that are old enough to understand investing in stocks, and that will provide a safe, curated way for that to actually take some of their money and invest it and see their money grow that way.
Wow. What would be the age range for that?
Probably 18 and up for that, I would think.
Yeah.
That's sort of where we think that would make sense. We might provide some very simple investment opportunities for kids, maybe 16 or so. But really, we think once kids get to college, a lot of these needs are still present, but they're also starting to expand their understanding of the financial universe. and having access to investments. Maybe student will partner with providers of student loans so that payment can be made through the Jassby app. Perhaps even access to in the U.S. we call them 529 accounts, which are college savings accounts, and parents transfer money out of those to allow kids to spend on educational expenses. We think we can probably ease that process as well for college age kids. So I think that we will add features along with the growth of our families, which is kind of fun to be part of their journey with them.
For sure. Oh, that's a really nice set of features we can look forward to there. And we also look forward to just keeping an eye on it in Pulse. We love the UX and the product that you got. So congratulations to you guys. And also, thanks so much for coming on the show, Jim. It's been great to chat.
Oh, thank you, Joe. I've enjoyed it too.
Our Pulse pick of the week goes to Moneys' very well presented transactions journey. A helpful search tool, merchant logos, and well-branded iconography are nice, if not pretty standard additions. However, there's something very soothing about the colour palette and fonts used throughout, making the screens both legible and engaging. Also, the way Moneys surfaces the net balance changes for each day is really helpful. As with many finance apps, just the daily spend is displayed. Thanks for watching today's show. If you want to see more journeys like this, head over to pulse.11fs.com to find out more and catch up on Homescreen episodes. Thanks everyone. Thanks Jim.
Thank you.